Hey guys, it's Dreadnought, and today I'm going to show you a dynamic DNS manager for Cloudflare that I just finished developing. I designed this for HomeLabbers, whose ISP provides dynamic IP addresses, meaning anytime your router has to restart or there's a power outage, your ISP will give you a new IP address and you will have to go into Cloudflare and manually change all the records that are pointing to your home lab. There are other solutions to this that also run in Docker. However, all of them require configuration with a YAML file. And I just felt like there was a better UI that can show more transparency as well as ease of just like adding and removing records as many people are fiddling around with stuff in their home lab. So I'm going to show you how to get this installed in your home lab. I'm going to go ahead and show you on just a blank Docker VM that I just spun up in Proxmox. Once we're in the home directory, I like to make a Docker folder just to keep all the Docker projects as well as the compose files in their designated folders so I can go and find them later. So let's just go ahead and make a Docker directory. mkdir Docker. Perfect. We see it there. We're going to cd into Docker. Obviously nothing in there. Now we're going to want to copy this clone link on the GitHub. And obviously, the GitHub links and documentation will be in the description. We're going to do git clone, paste that. It's going to copy everything there. Perfect. And we're going to go ahead and cd into dreadnought.ddns. Perfect. Looks like everything's there, including front end, back end, as well as the Docker compose file. All these commands will be listed in the GitHub README. You can just follow along here. Now we need to copy the sample environment file. So we're going to go ahead and do copy.env.sample to a new .env file. And we're going to go ahead and nano.env. Here is where you're going to put in all the critical information, such as your Cloudflare API token, the admin email and password, the security key. Not super important unless you do want to expose this to the web, like with a reverse proxy or even a Cloudflare tunnel. Highly don't recommend that. There's really no need for it. However, it is there if you want to. You just need a JWT token in there. And if you do not have IPv6 enabled for your home ISP, you can go ahead and change this to false. I do not have it enabled, so I'm going to go ahead and change that here. And you can also paste a Discord webhook URL here that will send a notification anytime a record is changed or the Docker container detects a new IP. And this is the interval in which it checks your IP. So this is in seconds. And when you're done editing this information here in Nano, you're just going to do Control X, Y, enter to save. All right, the next thing we're going to have to do is run the setup script. This is going to set up the directories in the right locations, as well as configure the database that will store your records, as well as API tokens and zone IDs. So here we're going to run sudo chmod +x, which will make it executable, setup.sh. Perfect. Now we can just go ahead and run setup.sh by just doing /setup.sh. Perfect. It says setup complete. Now all we have to do is run docker compose up /d. So, forgot to do sudo docker compose up /d. That just makes it detached. So you can, close this shell and it won't quit. Yours will take a lot longer than mine because I had previously saved these images in multiple takes of this video on this VM. Once it is complete, this will be at the end of the compose script that runs. One thing that you need to check is ensure that everything is running. So we're just going to do sudo docker ps. And here you will see the health of the web UI as well as the API is in starting. So give it about 60 seconds for it to just provision everything in the background. You can just like run this command every few seconds until it says healthy. Once it shows healthy, you should be good to go. Now, let's just confirm what IP I am using for this VM so I can go ahead and open it in the browser. So we're going to run IPA. Perfect. It looks like we are using 10.10.30.22. Obviously, yours will be different than mine. So we're just going to go ahead and go to 10.10.30.22, port 8082. Here you'll be granted with the login screen. Here you're going to want to enter the credentials that you inputted in the .env file earlier. When you are signing in, if you get this failed to fetch error right after you start it up, just give it about 60 seconds because the API container is just doing stuff in the background and it probably just needs a couple more seconds. Yep, looks like we are in. All right, let's go ahead and just make this full screen. Here you will see the dashboard, which shows your current IPv4 as well as your IPv6 record here. When the last sync was, there's also a sync now button. Just in case the polling rate isn't quick enough for you and like something just changed, you can go ahead and just click that button. So here we're going to want to add a domain and add a record. So here we're going to go to domains. We're going to go ahead and click add domain. So in this circumstance, I'm going to add dreadnought.work and the Cloudflare zone ID. You can find this on the home page of your Cloudflare domain. It's in the bottom right corner. You can go ahead and copy that in there. Once you have your domain added, you will see it listed here. This is super nice if you're managing multiple domains because in the records, which I'll show you here in a second, it is very easy to just click which domain you're adding a record to and add the A or quadruple A record for that domain. So let's just go ahead and add a record. So here I'm going to select a domain, do the domain we just added. And I've just been using this dark lab as a test A record. We're going to go ahead, click create and check this box if it's proxied and also check if it's A or quadruple A. Click create and it is good to go. Once that is added, every 300 seconds, it will check your current IP. And if it has changed from the last IP, it will update this record. You can also mass input records in this format here. If you are managing, 10, 20, 100 records, you can go ahead and sync those here. There's also a sync to Cloudflare after import, which will also allow you to add records directly. And also in settings here, you will be able to change how often it polls and checks your IP, as well as enter your Discord webhook for notifications. And that is basically it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via my email, which is me@dreadnought.work. You can go ahead and create an issue on GitHub if you do run into any problems, as well as check out my website, dreadnought.work. And there's a bunch of different ways to contact me there. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.